Hola, man. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, or whatever is the time where you are right now. A couple of years ago, I used to live in Trinidad and Tobago, one of those small islands in the Caribbean. I immigrated there from Venezuela, where I used to have a very, very bad time with the whole situation that was the country going through. And as I wasn't illegal and still very young, I was around like 18 years old, I had to go through a bunch of struggles. There was a point when I thought that I was already kind of stable. I was exercising again, I was working hard on my job, and I was developing a couple of skills. Basically, just trying to grow as a person. After I finished one of my workouts, I remember that I sit down and I started to see a video about modern relationships. And at the end, I couldn't avoid but let a couple of tears drop. With the things that were revealed to me in that moment, I could see through all my past mistakes, and not even just in my dating life, but also in my life in general. It was the first time that I was listening in that way a description of the feminine and masculine energy, and a lot of the problems that I have were because I was just being too feminine all the time. And today I want to explore why that was happening in the first place. My name is Jesus Noya, and I'm a Venezuelan man with the goal of helping men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant and more attractive, while avoiding the deadly mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from my years of dating experience in South America and all the struggles that I had to go through over the years, like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and non-existent sexual confidence. And also from the time when I used to be a medicine student. In this video I want to examine why there are nowadays so many men acting like this girly kind of way. You probably know them, those boys or guys that act like cute, if we can call it like that. That way you can be able to step more in a frame where you feel proud, healthy, vibrant, basically feel like a man. And just very quick, if you're experiencing things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and if you want to accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, you can go and click the link in the description right now. That way we can work together on making that a reality for you as soon as possible. But now let's jump to the video. You probably have been listening to this reasoning in a bunch of places, right? A lot of influencers nowadays have been going viral just talking about that, right? This concept of men are weak, men are feminine, men are emotional, all those kind of stuff. But if you notice it has been getting way more popular in the last like 2 decades. Before that, it wasn't that much of a thing. There are a couple of reasons for that. One of them is the culture that has been changing a lot recently. Everything started around the 60s with the bunch of social movements that started around there, like the sexual revolution, feminism, the fight for LGBT rights and all that. In the moment that all that started, that's when gender roles in our society started to be questioned, especially more in those Western countries like the US, Canada, and part of Europe. A big part of the key is in that concept of gender roles. For the first time globally, started this narrative that men should be a little bit softer, quieter, like more open with their emotions as a healthy practice. And for women was kind of the opposite, that they could be more independent, stronger, and basically do the same things as men. All this trying to lead to that gender equality that sounded so ideal back then. And that happened a while, 6 decades ago. But to become the main narrative, it took some time. Over the years, it started with a couple of discussions until it became more open. And instead of being something new, it became the rule. You can see that a lot, for example, in the media, the movies, or the pop culture, where men are usually more portrayed, let's say, as foolish or dumb. You know, like this kind of nerdy, softy kind of guy. For some people, anytime this topic is mentioned, it sounds like they're exaggerating, or it's not that much of a deal, or that women have it worse. But it is a reality. The kind of recent generations are just so different from what men used to be in the past. It's almost like two opposites. Even reached to the point of men kind of turning into women right now with transgenderism and that kind of stuff. And as this has become like the normal thing, like the normal way to be, that's when you see a lot of men stepping into this frame, stepping onto those behaviors that before used to be so like shameful or unacceptable or something just laughable. Also with this whole thing of the cancellation culture, whoever who has a different opinion, they just getting banned from society or just getting banned out of nowhere, right? They're labeled as misogynist, sexist, machista, or whatever you want to call it, right? And it's not only that men nowadays have the option to step more in this feminine, girly, weak kind of frame, is that they're being pushed to do it. It's even being labeled as the right way. You see this narrative nowadays, for example, where if you as a man want to work hard, want to provide and take care of your whole family, you want to make a big change in society, you want to do something important, it's being seen as hustle culture, as you have a hero complex, as you're undervaluing other people or women because you want to take care of them, that kind of stuff. It sounds like a joke, but I already had discussions with women really thinking that. And instead, what they want for you and what is actually right is to be quiet, to be tolerant with everyone. They'll usually call the nice guy. someone that is just following the main narrative, like not having a different opinion for whatever it is, like the main social movement right now. Instead, they want your support. Even if it goes against your values, the right thing to do is shut up and let them do their thing. Because if not, the opposite is that you're being someone judgmental, you're being oppressive, you're taking away their freedom or whatever bullshit. Alongside with this, when you compare how the modern men have it so easy in comparison with before, we used to go through a bunch of struggles, it has led to kind of this inner weakness or overreaction of what happens in your environment. What I mean by this is that as a lot of men have all the facilities to go through life in a safe kind of way where they don't grow at all, they usually go through that route, developing this kind of softy personality. When in comparison with before, men didn't have actually any other option. They had to develop values like discipline and perseverance, because if not, they could even potentially die. For example, during the years of the Industrial Revolution, in countries like Russia or even the US and the main Western countries, men had to work a lot for long hours, 12 or even 18 daily, and that was like the normal thing. So the kind of character that those men from that generation would have will be leading more towards that kind of manly energy. But nowadays, it's just completely different. Everything is so handy, so quick, so instantaneous that men could live their whole life in a shallow and superficial way without even questioning like if there's a better way to experience life, to feel more alive. I was myself a victim from all these things for a bunch of years until I was like 19, 20. Things changed for me a lot when I had to go through some real difficult experiences, like working 13 to 15 hours every day with no days off, having episodes of not eating, not having money, sleeping in the streets, being cheated on, those kind of things that I wouldn't wish to anyone. If only stuff by chance, just let me make a quick point here, is that some people go through this stuff and actually never grow and never learn out of it, right? They stay in the same place. The difference for me was that I went through all that. I didn't want to experience all that never again. I didn't want to go through the same thing. I was already tired of. And I realized that if I wanted to make a significant change in my life, I would need the values that I was lacking of. I would need to embrace the values that were inherently attached to manhood. Values like discipline, responsibility, perseverance, resilience, all those things that I already have, but now being used in a different way towards a different goal. So that's one of the reasons. Those are the cultural reasons. Alongside with this, I think that as we've been talking about, the spiritual part plays a huge role as well. Because I've mentioned like, okay, to develop this kind of manhood, this kind of masculine energy, you need to chase discipline and strength and perseverance and those kind of things, right? But why? Like, really think about it. What would you even want those things? What would you want masculine energy if you could get your desires satisfied in an easier way? Because if you want love or sex, for example, there are a lot of girls that are actually into this kind of soft guys, because you see in the media and even share like this kind of like it is a goal to have a relationship like that. You could also watch porn, pay a prostitute or something like that, right? There's an outcome that you decide, but there's a different ways that you can achieve it. This is when the concept of the spirit comes into place. A lot of people now have this narrative that everything is relative, that some things could be good for some people but it could be bad for others and that kind of stuff, right? That everyone has their own way to measure whatever values they have in their life, that everyone has different values, everyone has different opinions, blah blah blah. However, when you relate your actions to a higher purpose, to something more spiritual, to something more coming from the soul, that's when you start to see that there's only one way possible, and that from all the ways that you have to reach to this outcome, there's only one right way. And there's where you see that you as a man need to segregate this masculine energy, that you need to embrace the values that we've been talking about if you want to live life fully, to live and experience life in the right way. I think that a lot of people actually kind of confuse this concept of spirituality with thinking that it's being basic or being tolerant of everyone or just being, again, a nice guy, when it's not related to that at all. I see that a lot of people, for example, they spread this kind of perception of Jesus where he was like some kind of pacifist, like someone that was tolerating everyone because he loved everyone. But Jesus was a man, a total G that has a lot of strength, surviving 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, being born in poverty, being raised as a carpenter. The whole crucifixion thing was obviously super painful, and he still got through all that stuff because he was serving to a bigger purpose. And that's the thing, when men have a bigger purpose, something that they want to achieve, something that they want to look forward to, they able to just take way more of the hardships in life. life. And if there's one characteristic that express masculinity, is the strength of going through the hardships of life and still being truthful to your values and your beliefs and what you think is your purpose. However, we have been taught for a while, especially with a bunch of these materialistic doctrines, that God ain't all that religion and all these spiritual related concepts are things that the elites used to be oppressive, a way to fool people, to serve to particular interests or whatever. And as there's no bigger consequences in the long term, then we should focus to do whatever feels good right now or whatever feels good for our life. Not thinking about the others or about what is actually good or right or about living life with a strong moral system, because there's no moral system, everything is relative. Everything is just up to people consideration. From what I've seen, is one of the reasons of why I see men now just so like lost in life. It's like they kind of know that they want some things, they want to be successful, they want a bigger body, they want to have money, they want a beautiful wife. They're not pushed that much to achieve those goals. It's like they don't understand or see meaning in the labor. They don't think that the giving value to the world, to society, to their country, or even to their family is something important. They don't see that as their roles, man. They just basically just live and chill, and whatever it is happening is happening. And when you act like that, that's when you just act like a little girl. You don't have values to defend. You don't have a code that you're seeking to. You don't have a goal that you're pursuing. You're just there existing or caring about shallow stuff. That's why usually men get so attached to the relationships that they are in, because that's like the most meaningful things that they have in life, and that's why they always like try to suck everything from the relationship, because it's the thing that is stimulating them the most. Being with a girl, having sex, they don't have like that sense and pull to protect what is important for them, to provide to their family, to the society, to take care of her wife and try to give her the best life possible. Instead, they think that they're doing great with being nice and gentle, with being loving, like buying gifts, giving kisses, or doing like writing letters and stuff. Those things can be nice, but the thing that is like the ultimate way to experience a relationship. So these are the reasons of why I think that men are acting so feminine nowadays. I also wanted to speak about like the physical things, like the way that people is eating, the plastics in the environment, and lifestyle that we've been living recently. I think those things actually play a big role as well, but I will leave that for our next video. If you already watched until here, from all that we just discussed, I want you to use this knowledge in a practical way, because a problem that I see a lot is that men know that they're being soft. A lot of men know that they're not living to their potential. They know they're not working hard. They know they're being comfortable. They know that they're just like being okay with the current situation of their life. And the worst part is that they try to aloof themselves, saying that they're happy living like that they're okay because there's no other way. And if there's other way, that one is not necessarily better, or that way is toxic or whatever. Because part of that is what I used to believe before. I thought that I was happy and that I was doing things right when I was being feminine and weak and emotional, like crying in front of girls all the time, complaining about how hard life was, trying to just deal with the day-to-day bullshit without having like a clear goal, chasing all the materialistic goals like a house or having certain kind of income. When I used to live like that, I thought that I was doing okay, but the reality is that I was super unhappy. I thought that I was doing okay thinking and living like that, but most of my relationships were dying. I wasn't proud of myself, and the picture that I had of me wasn't good at all. I was basically just acting like a little bitch all the time. I know that for you watching this, stepping more into this kind of masculine energy in a way more purposeful way of living will make your life better in all senses. The kind of life that you will live once you start to live like this, pursuing goals that you care about, trying to make a change in your environment, in your community, in your society, in your family, being the one that is protecting others and defending the values. Those are part of the characteristics of stepping more into a masculine frame. Once you live like that, you're gonna know how shallow you've been living for so long. And I hope this video inspires you to make that change. Once you start to experience that masculine energy, feeling like a man, seeing how feminine girls are naturally pulled towards you, seeing how your family is proud of you, seeing how you see your life full of meaning, and seeing how you're actually making progress towards your goals every day, you will always be grateful for starting that change. Remember, man, that if you're experiencing things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and if you want to accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, you can go and click the link in the description right now, and we can work together on making that a reality for you as soon as possible. But besides that, man, I really hope this helps you, and I'll see you later.